kabhi na kabhi, we all have faced those most awkward questions at workplace, non-workplace.
The most awkward I would like to share from my side, when I
Definitely.
was working in a school, and when I was working as a special educator, being a psychologist also in the background. So when my president asked, you come to my house, I'll teach psychology for you.
A couple of days back, one of my friend is a psychologist and she worked with a hospital. And so she called me saying that, normally she's being all taking a place, all the work from home on online. Okay. For her also, one of the trustees of the hospital actually asked her, I have one patient and that time hospital was not very active and she was not very comfortable going also in hospital. So she said, why not online? Everything is online, so I'm fine. Since we don't require to be physically present as per the therapy. So then he said, you know what, I have one patient which I want you, he's very near dear to me, which I want you to examine, and you have to come to the company guest house to examine him. And she called me immediately. She said, Jyoti, I'm really not feeling, I don't know how many people are there. And if he's a person has a disorders or any kind of disorder, I don't know how to run, which is very true. So that time I firmly explain her, you have full right to say no. And in spite of him being pursuing for, I think 3 days as a trustee, they were putting a lot of pressure to her. But she very firmly said no means no. Recently, there was a case come in a paper media, Times of India, in fact, where saying all dating apps, these where people actually ask them to put it on, why you go on a dating app to search you wanted to have a one night stand or you wanted to do DP, whatever your reason is. Now there is a new rule come that you have to take consent. Consent is something that we are clearly saying yes and not in a fear, and we are agreed. So practically dating apps, you chat, so it has to be consent before meeting someone or putting any kind of, when normally they do a lot of sex texting or whatever. So you need to have a clear consent, and that was a rule which is included in dating app. So which is very nice. It just came 2 days back. So even I am surprised how they will go ahead, but definitely something very progressive and consent from the both sides. So we did little survey and asked this question to a lot of people. When they say the most awkward question, you might able to relate it. You don't want to say it, guys, I know, but you might able to relate this. Sometimes, we feel ki this is might not be directly, but there is something awkward. So anything which is to you awkward, you have a full side to say, I don't want to answer it. Or kabhi kabhi double meaning question hote hai, which we listed some them. So does really size matter to you that much? Now here, what kind of size are you talking about? Secondly, why are you still single? All the singles in the room, they must face this question. Why are you still single? And you really have to say that is none of your business. But when I talk about late night calls, when I talk about in coaching the personal space, the colleagues has been asking this kind of questions, and which comes under a sexual harassment, where you might don't know it, you feel might be little awkward. You have a full right that you don't want to answer it or do not want it to go ahead. And if you want, you can report him immediately. So you got plans. So what are your weekend plans? Seriously, boss, छोड़ दो यार weekend में तो. You are too good to be alone. You must be pro at all these things. Now, what is these things are you talking about? So all this double meaning, hidden questions, look out. Let me know what you did last night. मैं तुम्हें क्यों बताऊं? Maybe I cook, I just seen movie. It's my own personal space. So anything. So sexual harassment not always mean कि तुम्हें जाके individually, अच्छा, you are not wearing or चल coffee पे. This kind of questions also included in sexual harassment. And especially I wait for this because I wanted to share one of the incidents. I went for a networking meeting last week. Okay. And in spite of, normally I introduce myself as a POSH, so normally people will understand they have to keep a distance with me. They cannot be very pally. So next day, someone actually kind of started messaging. And after hi, hello, he started, so do you like to know your tarot, dear? I say, I like to know your services, but don't call me dear. His second reply is, why you're so angry? It's just a dear. I say, in a school, unfortunately, it's being taught कि letter writing में dear कहना है, सबको dear कहना है. But you have to understand that every time other person do not give the right or maybe not comfortable you calling someone dear. I'm not definitely your dear. It is so clear indication. I have to actually explain my extra POSH to just tell him, okay, do not call me dear, but I like to know about your service. And the person get extremely offended, which is okay. But this is what I feel secure. So safety comes first. And these are the couple of incidences. We even get a lot of intern incidences saying that entire message that HR is dropping her is from dear, 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 dear. And she's like, why are you calling me dear? As an intern, you might not able to say it upfront, but there are chances if you're facing something, you can still report to your IC. Go ahead. Anyone knows these guys? Come on. Very famous people. Heard about it, seen them anywhere. Any idea, Dr. Gayatri, Rosaline, Ishita? This is Priya Ramani and one of the ministers of Modi government, MG Akbar. And this was a very famous case where the Me Too movement started because of Priya Ramani. And it was started when it was 10 years back. She tweeted that MJ Akbar, it was her previous boss, when how he used to harass her, and basically interview was more on the date. So she tweeted this, and immediately it has been registered under Me Too as well as the POSH. This case has been running over the more than 10-12 years when the main Me Too movement started. Case judgment actually came 2 months back. Yes. And MJ Akbar, when he got that Priya Ramani is actually tweeted and he's lost his reputation, so he put the defamation case, which is under digital privacy, on her, saying that she's just bluffing and I'm not more any her employer. I used to work in an editor of biggest newspaper, but I'm no more editor of anything. How she can? वो ऐसे कैसे कह सकती है जो चीज 5 से या 10 साल पुरानी है वो अभी कैसे कह सकती है? Then my friends, on 2 months back, her Me Too is not been proven, okay? But the defamation case she has won, and judge has given extremely wonderful verdict saying that woman has a right to survive, to speak a truth. She can speak a truth anytime, anywhere. So if say I'm not more your employee and I wanted to, after 20 years, after 30 years, after 5 years, I have to complain about particular person, she can go ahead and file the complaint. Not maybe with the company IC, but she can go to the police, local police, or she can put it on a media, and she can go ahead and LC's she boxes there. She can complain any time. And this was a predict which is change a lot of people, because normally what happened, when you're working in certain environment, you're really scared कि मुझे उस आदमी को फेस करना है, कल मुझे वुमन को फेस करना है, तो I might not able to complain, मैं तुरंत नहीं कर सकता हूँ. But once you are out of that environment, you feel secure, not I'm in that position there, I'm ready to fight. So this was a wonderful verdict that they came, and this known as a judgmental day is registered as a history, and it created a storm in the space of Me Too and sexual harassment. तो अगर आपका कोई भी एम्प्लॉय आगे जगह, because companies come and ask you, okay, now are we going to be responsible for that? So police might come, or else when the court hearing is happening, they might ask you to intervene, because you might require to give your statement कि आपको कुछ पता है या नहीं है. when the investigation happens, your company might get involved. So it's better that we do all the things that we can prevent in the current situation. We really don't know what is the future.